Let's get the ball rolling and let's talk about Brexit and the bong for Brexit. Now, it is a historic moment, and surely Big Ben should be there for historic moments.
Look, I think so, Gemma. The question was aimed at me. Look, the world's media is going to be absolutely fixated on Big Ben come the 31st of January. And look, now we've made a thing of it over the past week. We're all going to be obsessed with whether it's going to bong or not. So look, even if the bell doesn't bong, I want to hear 4 mega speakers coming out of Elizabeth Tower, and we're hearing bongs all night. Look, we need to hear it just because this is what people want. Look, we have been in a verbal civil war for 3.5 years, and we need something, just a moment, whatever it is, I don't care, just a moment where we go, look, it's over, all right? We're back to normal.
Isn't it
That's what we need.
When we're not out. I don't understand. It's a transition.
Well, we can have another one.
No, manifesto. You get confused.
But because apparently on Remembrance Day, when it did go off, it cost us £24,000. So what has happened?
Well, look, they're restoring the Elizabeth Tower, aren't they? So it's going to cost them like 120 grand to build a temporary platform to allow it to be accessible and made safe. And it's going to cost even more, and the projections are even more. And look, this all has to be done in 2 weeks, by the way. So we need to get a move on. So if you haven't donated yet, there is a GoFundMe page.
Oh, yes.
The Big Ben Must Bong for Brexit campaign on GoFundMe, currently on £237,000. Nearly halfway there.
Do you know it is funny though as well? It's like this massive emblem of London who voted to stay. And it's like people just be going, yeah, great. It's like
just to an empty Parliament Square.
What are people saying in the Shires? What are people saying in the Midlands? What are people saying up north? I'm from Coventry originally. You're from up north.
Let's take it to YouTube. Look, there's plenty of people from all over the country. If you're in Newcastle or the Midlands or the Northwest, wherever it is, do you agree? Should Big Ben bong?
Absolutely right. Important questions. I mean,
would you have backed a second referendum had Remain won? If Farage came out and said he wants a second referendum, in your view of democracy, that democracy is always evolving, would you have said to Farage he can have another referendum 2-3 years after? No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, in another 5 years or something.
Why is that different?
Okay. Can I just say? I think that the thing is
with people win local seats that are called constituencies, and we haven't had problems for hundreds of years. One referendum, the country falls apart.
Well, look, and also if you follow that logic, if you look at how well the SNP did, I think they got something like 45% of the votes. In Scotland, so obviously 55% of people don't believe in it, and also the SNP are not unified on the EU. They're unified on aspects, obviously for independence, but things like the EU, that is the cause for them to have a referendum in the first place, that they want to be in the EU. But not all SNP people think that. So look,
yes.
We found that out when we had our own referendum. There's this kind of split and there's a divide. But quite right.
Rule Britannia says they voted SNP purely because they couldn't vote Tory. Which, I mean, that's an interesting point itself. That obviously they don't have a great track record of voting Conservative in Scotland. But I also think, if we had a Labour Party that was functioning and worthy of being voted for, that would change this conversation altogether as well. So look, that's all to play for.
Everyone gives credit to
just going back to the second chamber for just a moment. That we are one of the very few countries in the world which allows clerics to actually be a lawmaker, which is insane. We think the only other countries that do that is the Vatican City and Iran.
Yeah.
That it is insane that there are still people that are bishops and archbishops that are actually lawmakers. That is insane. That is the first thing. Look, we're talking about reform. Let's be realistic. It's going to be so subtle if this ever happens. This is not going to win an election for any party. This is a tiny little bit of legislation. They go, look, I can't remember how many there are, 48 or something like that, some number like that. Bin them off first, and look, we're now down to like 750, so we're not even halfway there. But look, it's going to be very gradual, this.
Context to this is a huge story which has exploded this week, and it's a school in Kent, and the head teacher has said that if parents keep being late for school pickup, they will receive a fine. So, have we got any thoughts on YouTube on this?
I mean, there's talk about pyjamas, but other than that, no, it's quite quiet. But look, Mark, I'm with you on this. Look, I don't have kids. I hope to. Actually, yeah, I'm really keen for kids. But look, I just think it's poor parenting. I know that sounds really horrible, but I'm so disciplined with time that the amount of people, if I'm meeting someone, how often is someone else late? It drives me up the wall. So honestly, I'd prefer to see this fine be brought out nationwide. If you're ever late, there's a £1 fine for every 5 minutes.